Hey YouTube, Brian LCS, and welcome to another Comic Book Community 411. And my special guest tonight is Swytch Comics. Marco, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. It's good to have you. Yeah. Before we get into the questions, the formal questions, why don't you just give a little, brief introduction about yourself and your channel?
Okay. So my name is Marco from Swytch Comics. My brother's on here often as well. We collect comics, action figures, a little bit of Funko Pops, and a few other things. You know how it is being a nerd. You can't just stick to one thing, no matter how much your wallet tells you to.
Legos too.
Legos, yeah. That's his thing. That's his thing. I'm a spectator on that end, but yeah, I work at a comic shop. Because of that, I have the ability to get my comics a little early, so I'm able to get my books and read them usually by Tuesday night, and Wednesday morning I have my full reviews of all the books that I'm reading, which is quite a bit of books that I read. And so that's something a little different, in case I like to give that information of what I thought about different books, in case it might persuade, or if you're on the fence on, you're like, maybe I'll pick up this one, and you just need a little bit more info on it as early as possible, because sometimes you go to the comic shop and something's already sold out. So yeah, and other than that, I do just all kinds of different comic related stuff on my channel. So
Cool.
Yeah, it's a brief summary there.
That was good. A good intro. So let's jump in. We'll jump into the first question. The first question is always, how did you get into collecting, or what introduced you to comic books?
Okay, so I'm pretty new to comics. I'm just collecting for about 2 years now, and I actually I've been collecting action figures as my main thing. I've been doing that for over 10 years, probably 12 years or so now at this point. And I was started working at a comic shop roughly 2 years ago. And when I started working there, it was to be their action figure guy. So I had all the action figure knowledge. My boss, he knew a little bit, but wasn't super versed in it, and wanted some additional help in that field. That being said, working at the comic shop, you still have other things you have to do and help out and whatever. So I started doing the pull list, and every week I'm looking through every single comic book and giving them to people and all this stuff. And I saw one, which I've seen plenty that caught my eye before then. And there's been multiple times that I almost bought Star Wars 42, First Boba Fett, and 68, just because I'm a big Boba Fett fan. And there's a couple other ones that I was just like, even though I wasn't into comics yet, I was like, oh, that one's really cool though. I might, maybe just that one. And I held off for so many years. I was like, I'm not going to get into comics. That's just another big area to put money into, and I'm not going to do it. But what got me was I was going through the pools, and I saw this book right here, Draken New Dawn. It's a Power Rangers awesome foil, and I'm a sucker for foils.
Nice.
And it to me, it was just like, oh, it's just such a gorgeous book. And as with many things, it was, well, just this one time. And then you start, getting more and more comics. As at the beginning, it was a lot of just cover buys. And then, again, working at a comic shop, you hear a lot of buzz, people talking about different things. And at the time, it was Donny Cates's Thor run was getting a lot of buzz. It was, kind of early-ish part of that, I guess, maybe around like issue 10 or something. And anyway, so whatever time it was, though, you know how sometimes when there's a run that's doing really well like that, it'll be a week where they have reprints of like 1 through 5,
Right.
So, I picked up like a, I don't know, 4th or 5th print of number 1, and then whatever else on. So I picked up, the first 5 issues and decided to check them out. And that run blew me away. Specifically, the first issue, till this day, is one of my favorite first issues of any comic. I think it starts so strong, and I've always liked Thor, but then like that holds a special place in my heart because that's always the moment I think of when I was like, I got to read comics. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so then it ended up being pretty awesome when I ended up getting First Store, but that's a different conversation. Um, and yeah, so I just started reading more things. I started reading more Donny Cates stuff, and then that was my entry into, like I said, being addicted to reading comics. And then I wanted to show off also Christmas 2 years ago. My brother got me almost a Taskmaster 196, Avengers 196,
But
first
first, right?
Taskmaster,
Yeah.
which I've always loved Taskmaster. This was, now, like I said, I didn't read many comics growing up, but again, I was an action figure guy, and they would do those action figure reprints,
Right.
So there was a 2-pack. It was Taskmaster and somebody else. I can't remember who else was in it now. But anyway, so it came with a reprint of this book, and I decided, okay, I'll I got it, whatever, I'll read it. And I really loved it. It was just, this ridiculous character slapping around the Avengers. He's like, I can fight all y'all at the same time. I don't care. And from that moment, I've always loved him. And then, Jen McKay, a little while, it was maybe a year or so ago, probably a little bit longer, he did a little 5-part miniseries that was incredible. And that started my love of Jen McKay. And then also that was my very first slab. So a couple years ago, that one slab turned into all of this,
many.
plus a box with a big stack of slabs on top of that. And yeah, I go pretty obsessive when I get into something.
Yeah, I was going to say that ramped up pretty quick for 2 years or so ago. Yeah, to no comics to, now a wall of slab comics. So that, escalated quickly.
Yeah, I have a problem, but don't we all?
So you said something in there. So you started collecting 2 years ago, but you had it when you were younger. You read books here and there.
Not a ton.
That's
like
interesting. That because most people usually have an early stage with it and then go away from it for a while and then come back to it. But you're just 2 years into it.
Yeah. Really, yeah, the action figure reprints were the only ways that I got comics. I never went to a comic shop. My parents and stuff aren't into anything nerdy at all. Like my dad likes the Predator movie, and that's about it. Like that's as far as we get into it. My mom has come around and watched both Guardians movies, and she likes those, but not because I think she just likes Groot, But yeah, so I mean, but I've been a nerd my whole life. I've always enjoyed just anything, but my thing that got me into everything was, I watched a lot of cartoons and stuff. So
yeah, sure.
Avengers and Iron Man and Spider-Man and whatever else, and any of that stuff. And so I always liked about that, or like those characters and everything, like all this. It's not like I just learned about these guys within the 2 years, like I've always loved all these characters and everything. It's just specifically the comic section of that has been foreign to me.
Right. The story, more of the story reading. Right. Okay.
Yeah, it was, let's see, I'm trying to think of any other comics. Like I said, it really just wasn't much. It's just, I bought a lot of action figures. Really more what like the reading that I would do. If they were around, I didn't know about them. I know it's super prominent now where people read comics online. If that was a thing when I was in high school, I have no idea. But what I did, and this is super nerdy, on Friday nights, I wouldn't be out running around partying or nothing. I'd be in my bedroom with my phone, because that's what we did have. We did have the internet at our access, and I just read Wikipedia pages on, I would do like all these random obscure background characters in Star Wars and stuff, and learn about, their history and what their deal was and all that. And that was my form of reading that I did.
All right.
You do learn.
Yeah. I mean, that's the great thing about, if I run across a character, these days, you can go right to that I'm not familiar with. You can go right to the internet and, get the information that you need.
Yeah.
When I initially started collecting, it was like, you didn't, you didn't have that reference to go look them up, Wikipedia or any other information on the internet. So
yeah, it's I think a strange way. I don't think most people probably got into different characters that way, but
yeah, that's pretty unique.
Also with Wikipedia, you would have another character would get mentioned, and so then you could have the hyperlink. You just click on the name, and you just in a rabbit hole of figuring out different character stories and stuff. But yeah, and then that's how I got into it, I guess.
Oh, that's cool. All right, that's interesting. Definitely a different, different story than I heard before. Because, like I said, there's so many people that have, got into it early, got out of it, and then got back into it. So how did you make the leap then to a YouTube channel, a comic book YouTube channel? How did you start your channel?
Well, to preface it, I guess I've done YouTube channels for 10 plus years now on various different topics. And my very first one is when I was playing in bands and I started making music videos. And we'd post some live videos and stuff like that too. Video editing and all that has always been a passion of mine as well. And I've just been on YouTube for so long. Now, granted, there was a brief period before this channel that I wasn't doing anything on YouTube. But again, so I started working in the comic shop, and I was picking up a lot of action figures. And I have to go back and look. It'd be curious to see. I think the channel at the beginning was a lot more about action figures, and but as I started getting more into comics, it became more of a comic channel. Which I still show action figures and whatever else I pick up on here, but it's just not the thing that I'm into the most at the moment. So
I'll have to go back and take a look at some of your early videos, but I know like your outro video that you use has the action figures in it.
Yeah. So I do. I haven't made any new ones in a long time, but I made these prints that I would sell, and I still sell them at the shop that I work at and stuff. But again, I don't know. I like doing Photoshop. I like doing video work and all that stuff. So it's one of those things I started doing that kind of, design. And, I was just showing it to my friends or whatever. And then, people start asking, where can I buy this? And I'm like, I don't know. Let me get them some printed up, I guess, and that turned into a thing. And then, and at first I started using that outro as an intro, and then I was like, this is cool, and I was like, this is way too damn long because it's going to the end of the video. It's too much to sit through. So as far as action figures go, and this is keeping in mind without making any kind of long story because it could be long, but I used to have a bunch of Star Wars figures, the 3 3/4 scale. And I probably had thousands of those, and the vehicles and everything you could think of, German exclusives, Canadian exclusives, just I had like everything.
Wow.
And I got bored of it because I had everything, and I ended up selling it all. It was like right after the Last Jedi, right before Mandalorian. So it was like this not great time for Star Wars before the revival. And so I sold everything, kind of regret it. I don't really have the space for it all anyway now. But my main thing is I do Marvel Legends figures, which you have some, to my knowledge anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
I haven't counted in a while, but if I had to guess, I'm probably close to about 1,000 Marvel Legends figures. And part of that's why, I started drifting towards comics and stuff too. Because again, more or less, I have everything. I could go into any kind of shop that has a good selection of figures, and it's very rare for me to be like, oh, that's something I want. It's like, even if it's a good selection, it's like, I got it all, or at least I got the ones that I want. And so, it's obviously there's a lot more comics to get into and many more decades, and the price ceiling is a lot higher. So there's a lot more for me to chase in comics than action figures. For me, I still get like new figures and stuff that come out, but the idea of the hunt to go find cool ones I don't have is gone, more or less.
Right. Yeah, now I that's one rabbit hole I've had. I have a few figures, but it's not a rabbit hole I want to go down because I think I could spend a lot of money there
Yeah.
between the Marvel Legends and then the Black Series Star Wars figures.
Yeah.
And my LCS is set up when I walk in, I have to walk through an aisle of action figures to get to the comics. The comics are in the back of the store. And so I try to kind of just walk down that aisle without looking and just keep focused on the comics because I know if I start looking at those figures that I'm going to end up buying stuff that I shouldn't be.
Yeah. If the Black Series was better, I would. I mean, I still have quite a bit of them. I probably have at least 100 or so of those, but they're nothing like. I don't know if you ever paid attention to the 3 3/4 scale. It was like real big in like the 2010s kind of era. But I mean, they had everybody, every character that was on a single frame of any Star Wars movie. They made it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And
Well, I had the original. I had the original Kenner line
yeah,
in the late '70s. So, and I probably had 150 figures or so,
yeah,
and a bunch of vehicles and everything. And I sold them at a garage sale because I needed money,
hmm
and I wish I never did that.
yeah. Yeah, like I said, I kind of regret not having my Star Wars stuff. Maybe one day I'll get back to it. But yeah, I mean, if because Black Series, I don't know how much you pay attention, but um, for the most part now, they're just like, hey, here's a couple characters, and here's another Luke, another Han, another Leia, another Vader. It's just like another Boba. It's like, come on, give us some other characters. But
Yeah, I certainly like the design. The Mandalorian figure, and
mhm,
I was impressed with the detail of it compared to, like I said, the original Kenner figures that I collected.
yeah,
Were vinyl capes and just no articulation and things like that. But so they're definitely an upgrade from stuff that I played with as a kid. Um, but yeah, like I said, I'm trying to avoid diving into that rabbit hole with figures because I think it just
we
not
can
enough
only be
money.
spread so far. Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, it's like I've already done 2 big purges of Funko Pops. I got to around like 500 each time, and I was like, I gotta thin this out. I got too many.
Yeah, that's a whole nother animal. Pop figures. All right, so let's move on to the next question. If you could reboot, or if you had creative control of a character or a comic book, who would you tackle?
It's funny. For the longest time, I kind of thought because I've having watched your show and watched like Gary B's show, he asked the same question. Um, and for a long time, I wanted to say Batman because I'm not a big Batman fan. But I did start reading this new series once Zdarsky took over at
Right,
125.
right, yeah.
And to me, I wanted, um, I think Batman can be cool, but I hate like anytime there's an argument of people are like who's stronger, Superman or Hulk or whatever, and then you always got that guy that's like actually Batman would win. It's like we didn't even ask that question. And I just hate there's so many people that are like give Batman any time and he'll beat anybody, he can do anything. It's like that's so lame, it's so boring. um and I just wanted more fault in Batman. um but I feel like Zdarsky's really been doing that. Are you reading this current run?
Yeah, I am. I started with his, pick Batman back up with his run. So yeah, it's been good. It's
Yeah.
been really good.
So I feel like he's already kind of done kind of the idea that I wanted, but better. Um, so that being said, um, I want another Elsa Bloodstone series to pop up,
Mm.
or I would really like because they earlier this year introduced her sister, Lyra Bloodstone, and I think just make it Bloodstones with an S at the end. That could be a cool little title. I think. Well, other than I guess she was in that little anthology Crypt of Shadows or whatever it's called, a little one shot thing they did. I don't really last like series I think that she was in was the Deadpool series that concluded during King in Black, which was just
Okay.
a 10-part series. It was a great series. I really enjoyed it. Um, they just restarted Deadpool this week, and it doesn't look like they're acknowledging that, because he was like King of Monster Island and stuff like that. And it was a really cool storyline. And again, Elsa Bloodstone was really cool. But yeah, I don't know. I want something. I've liked her. I know she's hot now because everybody knows her because of Werewolf by Night.
Oh,
But
right. Yeah.
it's a character I've liked for a long time. I thought she's really cool, despite getting next to nothing, you know. And it's not. I don't know. Does that necessarily answer your question? Because it's not really like a reboot. It's more of a. I just want them to do something with her. I'm not really changing anything necessarily.
Right.
I'm just like,
Well, and I
please.
think, like you said, the Disney having the Werewolf by Night Disney Plus series, the show that they did, Werewolf by Night, introducing her, and there was some family elements and some, family history within that show that,
Mhm.
maybe they could take that and make it a springboard for a comic.
I think with the success of that, I do think it's on the way. I think something will probably be popping up. I don't know. I don't know how long it takes for them to be like, all right, start working on the comic to it
Right.
actually being released. But I hope in the same vein. Now, this one would be more of a rework, I think, because in the same vein, though, I've always loved Man Thing. That was actually two of my very first slabs. Like I said, my first was Taskmaster, but early on, I picked up Adventure into Fear 10, which is the first solo title Man Thing story, and then Man Thing 1 Volume 2, because I really like that cover.
Right.
But yeah, I think Man Thing is a character that's just been slept on for a long time, very rarely used, and he has much more time of existing than Elsa Bloodstone. At least Bloodstone is relatively new. But yeah, I mean, just for as many years as Man Thing's been a thing, and they just barely use him. And then take it over to, like, obviously DC's seen success with their Swamp Thing.
Right.
One big difference they did with the show, and I think would be something that would be cool if you were to reboot the comic, is this Man Thing was a lot more sentient as Ted. Typically, in most iterations of Man Thing, Ted is more of a consciousness trapped inside of the Man Thing, so he doesn't really have control over what he is and what he does. So, but I did really enjoy that that Werewolf by Night special. So I think having the Man Thing be a more sentient character that is purposely doing things could be really really cool.
One, I think what worked really well for that special is that even if you weren't familiar with those characters, you could watch that as a Halloween special or horror type special and be entertained by it without knowing any backstory about any of the characters.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes without saying, because again, most people, even most Marvel fans, don't really know any of the
Right.
characters that we use. So it was kind of like a pretty similar experience. I do kind of wonder about that sometimes with certain things. It's like, would non-nerds like this, And it's probably a pretty similar experience between them.
Yeah, no, I certainly enjoyed it. It was definitely a surprise how well it came out. So,
Yeah.
all right, so let's move on to the next question. My fourth question is, what is your biggest complaint about collecting or the comic book community? One thing that you don't care for.
Um, I try not to really get invested in any kind of drama or anything. It's not really what I'm about. I do this because it makes me happy, and I think that's what it should be about. I don't think, um, if you don't like something, not everything's for you, and like, it's fine. There's other things that you like, I'm sure. So just go focus on those. I don't know why you gotta invest so much time into something that is upsetting you. Now, granted, I guess it can be a little different if there's a character you really like, and then they change him up or something. Like Deadpool in the Origins Wolverine movie. Like if you're a big Deadpool fan and that upsets you, okay, fair enough. But just like if you're going out of your way to be upset about, I don't know, She-Hulk or something, it's like, just don't read it or don't watch it, or
Right.
just go do something else. Like, I don't know why it's got to be a big deal. Like, I don't care that you don't like something, like it doesn't change my day at all.
Right. Right.
And I don't know. I mean, I always just try to stay positive about everything, like there's been books that I've read, and I've been like, you know what, I don't like this, I'm not going to read it anymore, and I don't throw a fit over it. I just
Right.
stop reading it.
Yeah. Move on. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, I was irritated. It's kind of over. I mean, pretty much over now. There's still a little bit of it left over, but when everybody was becoming a comic investor, in the early COVID times, and then I hated and I disagreed with it. Not every book's that valuable. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's one thing, you have your big books that are going to be worth big money, but these random first appearances, and it's just like, one thing that was irritating me, I was trying to collect the those 90s X-Men like number ones, and most of them were foils, like your Gambits and Rogue and Storm, those type of
Right.
things.
Right. Okay.
I was trying to collect those, and like those should be at most $10 books. They're not anything crazy, and people were trying to charge $25 and stuff, and like it's like these are nothing. Really, I mean, really, I should be getting them at $5. But it's like if you had it for 10, okay, that's reasonable. But there's just certain things that's like, and they might go up a little bit if we get those characters, but just weird investment choices. I've always had a struggle with people being bad at business, and it's really strange to me when, because like kind of going back to like the action figures a little bit, there was a big problem with scalping action figures. You couldn't find anything in the stores and everything, and people were, they go buy everything up and sell it online. It's like, and you look at the prices they're selling for, it's like you're only making maybe $5. It's like, that's not worth it. It's not worth the time.
It's
not
worth your time and energy to go. Yeah.
It's like all these entrepreneurs, thinking that they're making money moves. It's like, you're just irritating people is all you're doing. It's like there's no point in that. And people investing in the comics that swear up and down that they're going to go up in value and whatever. It's like this is nothing. Like, and if you can't realize it's nothing, then you don't need to be doing this. Like, there is an art to comic investing, and to a degree I think it's important to know about that. Even if you're not, like, I don't consider myself a comic investor, but I am a comic buyer, and knowing when to buy, when not to buy, those type of things are pretty important if you're not wanting to waste money. And so before we started recording, we were talking about I'm looking for a Spider-Man 129, and I'm kind of on the fence about it because I think that book is a little too hot right now. And even though pretty much everything is like calmed down in the comic market, that one in particular, I still think is pretty hot. And you can see from its floor costs, it's even at the lowest grades possible, it's still extremely expensive to get into. And obviously, who knows, tomorrow they could announce that Punisher's going to show up in something and that book goes through the roof. But, and part of that is like, there's been a lot of books that I've like, I have to get this just in case, like with my first appearance of Ghost Rider, as like, I want to get that book because I need it in my collection. And again, at any point they could announce Ghost Rider. It was looking pretty likely there for a little while, a lot of rumors and stuff. And I was like, I just got to get it. It's got to be in my collection because otherwise, if it does explode, maybe maybe I won't be able to afford it. Like right now, I'd love to get a Daredevil 1. Wish I bought that book, a little while back, but that book's a little out of range right now.
Yeah, no, and I'm doing a similar thing with Miles Morales books. So I'm trying to complete all the series of Miles Morales because one, I like the character, but two, I think at some point if he becomes, we have the animated Into the Spider-Verse, but if we get a live action Miles, that then those books are going to even get, out of reach. And so I've been trying to, get them all finished up now while they're still relatively, inexpensive.
That's a character I would highly suggest buying into right now because his books have gone down a lot. And even me, I have a Ultimate Fallout 4, but it's like lower grade. And I've really been thinking about buying a higher grade copy because they're really affordable right now.
Yeah, and I think he's a character that's going to have room to grow, from a investment standpoint. But I'm more of saying I want to get them now before they become too expensive and then I can't afford them. So
yeah, for sure. No, I kind of unfortunately bought mine when it was too high. And that, you live and you learn. And there's definitely a lot of books on my wall. Again, I came in at like the worst time. I came in like right around or in early COVID.
Right. That's when things were really kind of starting to peak and getting crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I'm just buying whatever I want, not really knowing the history of these books and, the history of the sales market. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that have obviously come down, but, it is what it is. And I think, the more that I do it, I'm making smarter and smarter decisions and, it's the best you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. You live and learn, right? You make some mistakes and you figure it out as you move forward. All right. So you made it through the 4 questions that I ask every guest. And so the 5th one is a random question that I'll come up with. And then the 6th will be a total random question. So my random question to you is, and you've mentioned it earlier that you work at a comic shop.
Yeah.
So, and you mentioned a little bit about being able to get books, early. What else, what other advantages are there, or what behind the curtain secret can you tell us about a comic shop?
Well, I mean, again, so with the new comics of every week, DC books come in super early. Unfortunately, I'm not that big of a DC reader, so that's not super helpful for me, but they come in about a week early most of the time. So I can pick up those books. Usually when people are reading, this week's comics, I'm reading next week's comics, which is kind of neat, and it does help me because, like I said, I bring all my books home. Unfortunately, the other books we get from Diamond, which is our Marvel and our indie stuff, and that doesn't come in until Tuesday. So I have to bring everything else home Tuesday night and read all that and do my video and whatever else I have to do, during that day. I have to get all that done and ready for Wednesday morning. So even though it's just a little bit, getting to read the DC early definitely does help. Also, kind of you just get first pick at everything, really. I mean, it's with working at any type of store anywhere. If there's stuff that that you're interested in, you get to look at it before anybody else does. And so, there's definitely been quite a few books that I've picked up from there, and action figures and stuff like that. Obviously, you get your employee discounts, which again, working anywhere, it's it's nice. It's nice to be able to use it on things. I guess just the best part of it is, so before working here, I worked. Probably 10 years or so in the food industry in different places, but I kept bouncing around different places trying to be a manager somewhere, and it's just like so stressful. It's unnecessarily stressful. And not to say that working at a comic shop is devoid of stress. Working anywhere, there's going to be some amount of stress. You got things to do and things sometimes you don't get your comics on time for the new comics for the week, and that's a headache. Or they send you the wrong things all the time. Um, Keeping up with the pool list is a lot of work. The pool list is
Oh yeah.
a lot of work. I don't think people realize that. But it is a headache. And there's not really like a standard way to do one. It's kind of just, I've talked to other people from different shops and stuff, and there's not necessarily like a best way to do it. It's just a job that has to get done. And I have just a whole bunch of Google Doc files and stuff to help me keep organized, because that's how I like to stay organized with things. But yeah, I mean, when I took over doing the pool list at my shop, it was I spent probably like a week converting everything over to Google Docs.
Okay.
And that was like a week at home, not just being at the shop. That was like taking a bunch of stuff at home and retyping everything up. And yeah, it was a headache, and continues to be a headache. But having your organizing principles in place is pretty important. But I mean that was kind of some negative things of it. But I don't know, just being in a place that you love being around all those things. Like I love people coming in and getting to talk to them about comics or action figures, or obviously people coming in and talking about the newest episode of this or that or whatever. And you're just around nerds doing nerd things.
Yeah, no, I've seen that firsthand. Like I usually I'll go in Wednesday after work, 4 or 5 o'clock to my LCS to pick up my books. And there's days that I've gone in and they're still working through the pull list. And so the way my LCS does it is somebody has, the pull list on, documented on paper, and they're calling out the books to a second guy who's, picking the books and then putting them away. And so, does your shop, if I want to sign up for a pull list, how do I just fill out a paper with the titles that I want? Because my LCS kind of has like a checklist, and you fill it out on paper and turn it in.
No, we don't have a checklist. That sounds a little strange to me. Just because like there's constantly series ending and starting up, and like that just seems like a headache to try to keep track of that. But basically, no, we give you a blank sheet. You have to put your name and number on there, and then it's just a bunch of lines.
List of titles that you want. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you just whatever you're interested in, and then also we have some people that some people that get all Momoko covers, some people that get all Scotty Young covers. Okay. Some people there might be like any Spider-Man title, or just little niches like that. If it's we cater to stuff like that as well. You can do that way, but then also for Diamond, again, which is only the Marvel and indie stuff, you can there's an online way, and that's really helpful, more so for people that are picky about covers, or not picky, but if they're cover junkies, and they're out there looking for their certain artists and stuff like that. And if you sign up for a pull list, you're going to get a cover A, like by default. But yeah, if you're specifically looking for certain covers, or if you want to look at, if you're going to get every issue of Batman, or no, Batman's DC, that's a bad choice. If you're going to get every issue of Spider-Man, but you only want one cover, but you want the best of whatever's available that week, there is an online way to do that. And presumably, I mean, that should be something that every comic shop should offer. It has its own list of headaches to deal with.
Okay.
It is not a great website. It does all kinds of weird things. And I can't solely use that. I have to use that and still refer to my Google Docs files.
Okay.
Because it is a headache, but it's helpful in certain ways. So, yeah.
Yeah. And, so I order some books online as well. So I go to my LCS, but then I order some online because if there's certain, my LCS is not so good about certain covers, right? So if I call out a
Mhm.
certain cover, sometimes I don't get it. And so I do kind of this hybrid where I order some online. And the reason why I use this particular place to order online is because they have the best website to be able to pick covers. They give you the cover selection. They'll give the Amazing Spider-Man, and they'll list out all of the variant covers, and then you can put in which one you want, or if you want multiple. So it was the most user friendly website I found, and so that's why. And they offer a pretty good discount if you order a certain amount of titles. They give you 25% off. So
Yeah,
um,
it's pretty good.
yeah, so it's so I kind of use this hybrid model now where I pick up some at my shop and then order online as well. So
Yeah, that's a strange thing. Every shop is different, and you know, for anybody listening, if the shop that you go to sometimes struggles when you ask for something and then they forget or whatever, keep in mind, and especially depending on the size of the shop, it is a headache, and they do want to help you, but presumably, I mean, I'm sure
right.
there's one or two shops out there that don't care. I'm sure, but um, it's just a lot to keep up with, and there's other things going on at the store during the day, and everybody's always doing something, and it's easy to slip through the cracks on things. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes on my stuff, despite how much effort I've put into staying organized. I have a whole docs file, because sometimes you might go up and you can always ask for people to order a cover, or you can ask your shop to order a cover, if it's something still in stock. And so, like, I have a full list of people's names and the book and everything of everything that's coming in. That's a specialty order. But even then, sometimes it's like maybe I forgot to write it down, and then I get the book and I'm like, who does this go to? And I can't remember. And, there's lots of things that can be a headache. But if it's just an every now and then thing, don't beat the shop up too bad about it. I'm sure they're trying, but I guess if it is a shop that you've given opportunity and opportunity again, and they still let you down, then find other
Yeah.
other routes. I've heard there's a shop I won't name, but excuse me, in my city that does a very strange thing. Because we have one customer and he told us about it. Because it's just one of those things, how like that customer has been going to that other shop for a long time. So we already had a pull list over there, and so he gets all of his cover A's for Marvel over there, but he gets all of his special variant covers at our shop. And he said he started doing that because for whatever reason they would upcharge $1 on any variant. Which
Oh, wow.
if they do like 1 in 10s or 1 in 25s and whatever, sure, okay,
Right,
but
right.
a B cover, really,
Yeah, that's odd.
So every shop is going to be different and going to have different rules and different things that are going on, and so just see what
Yeah,
you got. And
I went into a local shop that I've been to a few times on a Tuesday. I was just going in to see if they had some back issues of some recent issues, and the shop owner is like, "Oh, the new releases are out," and I said, "Oh, you mean the DC books because it's Tuesday?" He goes,
yeah,
"No, everything's out," and so he was already putting his Marvel books out on a Tuesday, and I was like, "That's odd. I've never been in a shop,
yeah,
that has the books out a day early," and so
it's got to be
I found
careful.
I found that interesting.
You can get your license revoked that way.
Yeah, he's a small shop. I don't know, anytime I've been in there, there's no more than one other person ever there in there, like shopping. So I don't know if he's that busy or he just doesn't care. I don't know, but I thought that was odd that he had Marvel books out on a Tuesday and he was just like, yeah, there, go. So it was kind of strange.
Yeah.
So
Which, I guess can be cool if you know about it and you're trying to pick up some books before anybody else. But yeah,
yeah.
that is dangerous for the shop owner for sure.
Yeah, I would think so. That's what I thought because I thought they could only go on sale, on Wednesday. So I was a little surprised about it. So, all right. So that was my random question. Now we're going to go to a true random question. I have a list of 50 questions. just give me a number 1 through 50, and wherever we land, that'll be the question.
Let's go 36.
36. This is pretty interesting. What social media platform do you like the least?
I don't do Twitter at all.
Okay.
So when I was growing up, MySpace was the thing. And I really liked MySpace because it was very what's the word? Very manual. Like you could get in there and just do whatever you wanted. And people were, you could do the little thing where you could put your, song up on there, and you could change the background and do all those things. And you could make it very personal to you.
Right. Yeah.
And
customizable. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Customizable. Yeah, that's a good word. And then Facebook took over, and I thought that was super strange. Now, granted, Facebook has grown a lot since then, but it was just so strange to me because Facebook seems so minimal in comparison and so limited. And just clean and corporate slate looking, and I was like, I don't know about this. But then eventually I was like one of the last few people on MySpace, and nobody was on there. Like, okay, whatever, I'll switch to Facebook, I guess. And then then eventually Twitter pops up, and then again it just feels like they're stripping away features and you can't even type out a long thread without using a secondary company,
right.
Or website or whatever it is, Twitlonger. I don't know. Like, I don't mess with it, but it's just insane to me. And I think you can do pictures on there now. I think, again, I don't get
it. You can.
But it used to be you couldn't.
Right. And it was only text, right? Yeah.
It's like, why do you want to do this? Like, it just doesn't make any sense at all to me to be like, oh, actually limited options are better, like, I don't know. I don't get on there. I don't mess with it. It has zero interest to me. I think people only get on there for drama reasons most of the time anyway, which is not anything I care about. I'm much more of a Instagram person.
Okay.
And again,
that's funny because I used to use Twitter a lot, but you do find a lot of people arguing and back and forth. And so when I got back into collecting, Instagram seemed to be the place to, be for collectors and comic book collecting. And then once I started the YouTube channel, YouTube doesn't really have any other than the comments. There's really no good way to communicate on YouTube. So then Instagram and direct messages seemed like like a sister to YouTube because you needed that communication piece so you could, message people and things. So
yeah.
I used to use Twitter a lot, and then I don't use Twitter at all. And now I never used Instagram. Now it flipped where I don't use Twitter at all, and I use Instagram all the time now. So,
yeah, no, Instagram is definitely like the place for collectors, and a lot of people, because you'll hear some people be like, "I don't use social media at all; it's too negative." I'm like, well, you're going to the wrong places. Like, there's a lot of negativity out there, but for me, like on my Instagram, if you scroll through it, it's just pictures of comics and action figures and nerd stuff, and granted, the nerd community still will time and time again, find something to be negative about.
Right. Yeah,
but
things flare up.
if you curate what you're, who you're following and everything, you can just find people that are happy to show off the cool things that they're picking up. And, like there's a lot of cool action figure people that are always setting up dioramas and making cool scenes and stuff. Oh, yeah. There's lots of cool stuff to follow and, see something cool you like on it, maybe, leave a comment and talking about cool things. And like I said, recently I've been doing some shopping on Instagram. It's definitely, I think right now, like the best place to really get some good prices on comics.
Yeah. Get some deals. Yeah. I follow a bunch of action figure, accounts, and the ones I like the best are like you said, the ones who are setting up, the action figures in a scene and adding smoke and lighting and taking photos and making the action figures look, realistic. Like those are some of the favorite, ones to follow for me.
Yeah, no, there's some really, really talented people doing some amazing things for sure.
Awesome. So you made it through all 6 questions. I know you currently have a contest going on, right?
I do.
From your Halloween video, your short film that you did. So I know you wanted to mention that. So why don't we highlight that?
Sure. So I did a little Halloween special, little short film on my channel called "A Werewolf in Moonlight," and I'm it's first time. I've done a lot of, like I said, I've always been a big fan of video editing and all that type of stuff, and film in general has always been a big interest of mine. And this is kind of the biggest thing I've ever done, and I was really excited to show it off. I'm really excited with the way that it came out, and I decided to do a giveaway to encourage feedback. Because basically, all I'm asking is you to leave a comment on the video, tell me what you think of it. You know, whether you liked it, you didn't like it, things, specific parts of it, or something that could be better, or whatever, and then just hashtag Swytch at the end of it, and you'll be entered to win this awesome lot of books that I'm going to show off. I think one of the best giveaways I've ever done on my channel. So we have Moon Knight 14, which is the first appearance of the Stained Glass Scarlet. Moon Knight 24, which is just an incredible Bill Sienkiewicz cover.
Yeah, it's a great cover.
It is my favorite of the original run. It's just gorgeous. And then a close contender is Moon Knight 29. Get that glare off there. But yeah, again, another nice cover. Then we have number 1 from the Lemire run, which is first appearance of Dr. Emmett. And then, they used quite a bit of the story in adapting that kind of that last half of the show. And then it's not just about Moon Knight. We also got some werewolf books. We have Spotlight number 3, the second appearance of Werewolf by Night and first mention of the Darkhold. And we also have Spotlight 4, which is the third appearance of Werewolf and the first appearance of the Darkhold.
Wow, very nice.
And so all those will be going to one lucky winner. All you got to do is leave a comment. The reception has been incredibly positive, and I don't know, maybe very happy seeing, because anytime you do anything and it's like the first time, you're always nervous. Like, when you're doing a new like segment here on YouTube, can be nerve-wracking to be like, oh man, I hope people watch this, or I hope people like it, and I hope people check it out. And even if what you've done is good and you're happy with it, like, there's, at least for me anyway, there's always that, oh man, just that worry, that dread that it's not going to work out. And so like I said, it's been incredibly positive. And yeah, I'm really excited working on ideas for the next one. So
that's cool. Yeah, no, I mentioned it to you. Like I said, the one thing that stood out to me when I watched it and listened to it was the sound editing, the sound effects that you used. And I think too, the video was it was like the right length. It wasn't too long, wasn't too short. It was just enough. And then like I said, the sound editing really, for me, enhanced the video even more. So I thought it was, really well done and fun. I thought it was like, that's something that I know takes a lot of work, because, you've got multiple people involved. You've got, different locations. You've got, makeup and costumes and those type of things. So it takes, that takes a lot of work to produce a, 3-4 minute video. So I thought it was, really well done. And now you've got this great giveaway. So.
Yeah, because like I said, I for this one, before I did it, I was like, I need to make sure people watch it. So I was going through my books, and some of these are doubles, some of them are not. Like the 2 werewolf books are the only copies I actually own on these. But I was like, I'm going to find some cool stuff and entice people to leave some feedback, because I'm really curious to know what people think. And again, always looking for constructive criticism on how I can do better next time.
Yeah, no, I think that's, that's important, right? I mean, because, we're producing content, throwing it out there, but, unless we get that, constructive criticism to really know what people liked and didn't like, we don't really know. And so we don't know how to make things better, the next video. So yeah, I think that's, important to have. So I'll have links in the description for Marco's channel, YouTube, Instagram, and I'll link directly to the Halloween video as well, so you guys can go check that out. So,
all right. Cool. Well, I appreciate all that.
Yeah. Anything else? So before we wrap up, anything else that you want to mention? Anything you got coming up on your channel? I mean, like I said, we've got this giveaway, so definitely enter that. But anything else you'd like to mention?
Uh, Nothing right now. I don't think. I I don't know. I'm all over the place. I'm always trying to do something. I'm pretty regular on the channel. I have so many ideas, and it's one of those things. It's like I just feel like I can never get to all of them. I've been really enjoying doing some YouTube shorts here lately. Just a new format, new way to do some different things that I never really wouldn't work as a regular video, you know. And so that's been fun. Like I said, I'm really brainstorming on the next episode here for the little shorts or the short films, you know. I just did a CGC unboxing the other day. I got my Fantastic Four 49 and 50 and this Luke Cage back, as well as another book. And I do have some modern stuff coming back, hopefully pretty soon. It's very strange. I sent them in at the same time, my modern and economy, and got the economy back first.
That's weird.
Definitely not what I expected. We opened up the box thinking it was going to be my modern stuff. Right. Oh no.
It certainly seems like CGC has gotten in, quicker turnaround times. I'm seeing people submit books and get them back, pretty quickly. So which is good news.
The new stuff, I still got some stuff from a long time ago that hasn't moved.
Well, and that's what I've seen. With stuff that has been submitted recently seems to be turning around very quickly, but there's still a lot of people that have stuff that they submitted a year ago that seem to be in, I don't know where.
Yeah, CGC and CBCS both have deployed the model of saving face of, we're caught up. Look, it's sending something right now. I'll send it right back to you, Right. And meanwhile, they just brushed everything else under the bed.
Right. And, got a warehouse full of stuff from last year.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm at this point where I'm like, I kind of don't even know if I'm going to see those books again. But yeah, the new stuff coming back fast is good, I guess.
Yeah, well, I always look forward to your reviews that you do on Wednesday. So you do the Wednesday early, video with all the new comic book reviews, and then your live stream that you do Wednesday night, right?
So, yeah,
you do the gaming and hanging out with your brother, and that's always fun.
Yeah, well, I just call it community night because we wanted to stream and just kind of do something relaxed, and we didn't really know what. We didn't want to define it as anything in particular because sometimes, we'll build Legos. Sometimes we're playing. I feel like most of the time we're probably playing video games. It's the easy go-to when you don't have anything special. So, but if we have some Lego sets, we'll build them. I don't know, just whatever is popping up, and it's just an opportunity for people to stop by and hang out. And I'm always talking about comics. So anybody have any questions about whatever, I'm always answering and talking about that, or talking about the whatever show's going on right now and stuff like that. So just a fun time to hang out, and again, just a different experience than making regular videos.
Yeah, no, I try to pop in on your stream on Wednesdays, and that's it. It kind of feels just very casual. It's the hangout. It's you guys are having fun, so it's always a good stream to kind of pop into. All right. Well, that's it. I think we made it through. Thanks very much for coming on. And like I said, I'll have links down below. So please, if you're not familiar with Swytch Comics and Marco and his brother Chris, go check them out. Follow them, and at least go check out their Halloween video short. It was really well done, and you got a chance to win some really great books. So.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, man. It was a blast. I've been meaning to be on this show for a while now, and again, as I'm constantly bouncing from one idea to the next, I finally sent the message to you the other day.
Yeah, no, it's always I always look forward to chatting one-on-one to kind of get to know other community members better. So I hope the audience enjoys it as well, so they get to know you a little bit better. But yeah, always fun for me. Kind of selfish reason why I started this show was to kind of get to know other community members. So good stuff.
How dare you?
Well, thanks everybody for watching. And like I said, links down below. Go check out all the stuff that Swytch Comics has going on. Marco, thanks again. Have a good night.